1, 2, 3. Cocks don't pop at all, poppycock cocks do poppy by 4. And that's why all the folks on Poppycock keep poppycocks in a jar. But once I met a girl on Poppycock back in the Poppycock Hills, they won't let me back on Poppycock, reckon they never will. Well, Poppycock, you'll always be home sweet home to me. Good old Poppycock, Poppycock, you and me, Rose and Baldini. The earth don't spin at all on Poppycock, flatter than a hot roadkill. And beer don't stick to balls on Poppycock, reckon it never will. Once I met two folks on Poppycock, one bald, the other likes cats. She wild as a rosy, quicker than a satellite, no Poppycock about that. Well, Poppycock, you'll always be home sweet home to me. Good old Poppycock, Poppycock, you and me, Rose and Baldini. Take a Trey. Sheep don't like to flock on Poppycock, ain't no Poppycock pins. You might just find yourself on Poppycock, waking with a Poppycock kin. And Poppycock, you'll always be home sweet home to me. Good old Poppycock, Poppycock, you and me, Rose and Baldini. Why so freaking early? Poppycock, you and me.
Good morning, everyone, and happy Tuesday.
Tuesday.
This is the Poppycock Report, episode 48, which breaks down to 12, which breaks down to 3, which is kind of a holy number if you think about the Trinity and all
Holy
these
crow.
different things in nature that kind of make sense with 3. I love triangles, especially equilateral triangles are very, very pleasant to look at. Of course, that symbol has been used in negative ways because it's all about intent, Baldini. There's nothing inherently bad about a triangle, but
no.
sometimes people use symbols in negative ways. Now, what do you think about that, my wonderful co-host?
Well, I'm triangulating on it right now. No, I prefer the equilateral to the right angle triangle, personally.
Yes.
But because equilateral triangles don't have a apex, they have a vertex. So, well, we got that going, which is nice because it's equilateral, right?
Indeed.
So we're triangulating on it right now. I'm so glad that you're feeling better. I know you were not feeling well earlier, and you sound like you're just the good spirits. I love that.
Yeah, you know what, Baldini? I always make a point to tell you if I feel like crap, if it's like getting close to 3 a.m.
Yep.
It just in case you have like a special like prayer powers, because I know you have a little
I have a red
relationship
phone
with the dude upstairs.
I do have the red phone. Yeah.
No, but yeah, I couldn't make it to Jaredism Raw last night, and I was so disappointed because I didn't even listen to the show because I just needed to, kind of go through what I was going through. And I learned about the whole Nathan Thompson thing and him getting sent to LA. And I never even knew why he was sent to California. Did you hear about this, by the way, Baldini?
I did. I heard a little bit of
Okay.
it on Glowbusters. Yeah. So.
Oh, okay, yes. So anyway, I remember watching a live stream of him, and I noticed that it just looked like some kind of crappy part of LA behind him. Like I was getting like flashbacks from when I lived in Van Nuys. I'm like, oh God, why is Nathan not in his beautiful homeland of, I think it's Virginia or something like that. And then it started coming together that he was there for a Flat Earth thing. So I thought, oh my goodness, is this the film that Jaron and Bob were
Talking about,
presented with as a possibility? But no, this was just some sort of prank, which is heartbreaking. And I completely agree with what David Weiss said in the beginning, which was that, Nathan fell for it because he is a genuinely wonderful human being that can't imagine people doing something like that, even though as a flat earther, we all should be pretty used to people who have never done their research mocking it because of
No,
what they've
that's
seen on their idiot boxes.
yeah, that's why so many people get, addicted to the mainstream, just because they prey on your, the angels of your better nature. So that's why people wear the mask, right? They think they're doing something good. Well, I mean, they're complying, and they think they're doing good by doing that, right? And so we see this over and over. Is that it's far easier to fool a man than it is to convince him he has been fooled. People are like, why would they lie?
Yes, yes. There are two things I want to bring up something that you about the masks regarding my mother, and then I want to address the Mac situation, and then we both have stories about people we know personally who supposedly
Tested
have the fake
positive, at least.
Granny.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So my mother, speaking of like virtual signaling, my mom is like the full blown 100% concentrated social justice warrior, Democrat who, cried hysterically because she thought that she helped Obama become president. She went to the inauguration, and even though there was like a million people, she was like, oh, I can't believe we did it. I mean, she's just really into it. And then she birthed my sister, so imagine a carbon copy of that, but born in 1988. So it's like a whole other brand of insanity. And I'm not judging insanity. I have my own brand of insanity. But, when it comes, so my mother, I'm going to share this on Thursday. I just didn't have time to make it into an MP4 and upload it to share. But actually, I'll just explain it, and maybe you guys will just be like, please, no, don't show us this on Thursday. But my mom sent me a video of her driving in her car with a matching mask to my sister in the back wearing a matching mask, and they're like designer masks around the block at the Santa Barbara courthouse. And my sister in the back seat is holding a cardboard sign that says "Later, losers," and they're just driving around and honking at Trump supporters. And that is how they spend their day.
Oh
Baldini.
God. Oh God.
And it's very painful to see because
Well, that's very
especially when they
inclusive.
sent me this video, I immediately responded. I texted you a screenshot. I was like, please don't send me any videos with you guys wearing those disgusting
I
masks.
saw that. Yeah.
And you guys are going to get brain damage. And then she responds, ha ha. So, I mean, I wish that she could understand how serious I am. Anyway, moving forward, Mac is the fucking man. Love you, Mac. I did listen to your live stream last night, but as I said, I wasn't feeling well, so I wasn't chatting or anything. But he had his first appearance. Are you aware of what occurred at his court appearance, Baldini?
No, I saw I saw a link from somebody who was headed there, and they were late, and so it was all kind of a whir. So tell me, you'll be in my news.
Okay, well, I won't go into every single solitary detail because I would love to drive traffic to his channel, Flat Earth Focker, Focker. But the most interesting thing to note, other than the fact that there was an overwhelming sense of support by people in the by people in the community.
People in the computer?
Well, the community is in the computer most of the time, but people actually physically showed up. And I just heard people saying, free Mac, so it was just cool. And then, of course, the people in the mainstream and official people were just calling him an idiot and basically reminding everyone that they wanted to confirm without a shadow of a doubt that we don't live on a flat and stationary plane, which I thought was interesting because this flat Earth has nothing to do with this whole COVID hoax. But, well, actually it does. It all ties together in terms of the deception, but I mean as far as these motherfuckers are concerned. But here's the interesting thing. We've been talking about all these legal ideas, and that is also what has inspired Mac to fight for his rights as a living man. And although I did try to get him in touch with Cal Washington, and I know there was some correspondence, it seems like Mac has actually been working with Christopher James that we had on episode 246, and he's Canadian, and I think he was there, and he's been helping him, so that's good that he has that support. Now, I'm not sure if people are all fully aware of this, but there are just different things about Admiralty law that are reflected in the courtroom, and it's kind of like being accepted onto a ship. It's all maritime law. And people approach the bench, they go past the bar, there's all these different terms that are associated with this. And as you know, the defendant usually like stands up and stands at a certain spot, and Mac observed other quote unquote defendants doing this, okay? So it wasn't like this was a weird judge or there was weird COVID protocol, but it was his turn, and he attempted to do what everyone else had done and go to the spot where everyone had gone. Because of the paperwork that he had filed in advance, the judge quickly said, no, don't do it. Don't come here. So she wouldn't let him aboard the ship, because if he goes aboard the ship, quote unquote, then he's invisible because the living man doesn't exist in commerce. And so, I mean, these are all very interesting ideas. And this is just an interesting thing that occurred that will give us a little hint that maybe there is really something to this. So, of course, we're all going to be watching this case very closely. Just to bring everyone up to speed, Mac had a yoga business at the beginning of the hoax, and he wouldn't close it, so he got shut down. Then he was refused access to a plane, and he was, demonized in the media. He went to Flatoberfest and hung out with us all on October 24th, returned to Canada, refused to quarantine, went to a protest, basically explained, I'm here against the quarantine. I'm supposed to be quarantined, but I'm not doing it. And he tried to serve some paperwork, and then of course he ends up getting arrested, and he's just constantly being demonized in the media. And Mac, I just love you. My heart goes out to you. I want to just support you, man. So
yeah, so
that's about that.
Yeah, we did a fundraiser for Mac and got him more than $1,000. Got a few more shekels to send his way that kind of trickled in, but I've been directing everybody now since he's out directly to his PayPal. I'll just throw it in the link. It's paypal.me/flatearthfucker, and there you go. And just donate directly to him at this point. Or if you're in Canada, you can use the interchange there in Canada. So there's no fee or very little fee for that. So again, even though there's still the Flat Earth Fucker page up that I set up whenever he was incarcerated, everything that's tagged for him through there will definitely go to him. I have a few more shekels to hand his way, but we were able to get him more than $1,000, and keep it up, because it is, it's again, he's setting an example, and he's willing to stand up against it. And as I said when we first started this, I don't care what he did, with the donations. It's his to do with what he wants to. And but he decided that he was going to stand up and fight him. So you rock. Fuck the fucking fuckers. That's
yes.
That's what I say.
Fuck the fucking fuckers. That's right. An interesting thing happened last night. I was just checking my, little Capital One app, and I noticed that one of my little emergency credit cards that I think has I think that I get Hulu for Jason's daughter, and it charges to that one. So it's active every month, and I just pay it in full, so it has a zero balance. And I noticed it was restricted. So I hate calling customer service, but I just did, because I was genuinely curious about why a credit card would be restricted when it's always paid in full, a whopping $5.99 and immediately, and it's active, blah, blah, blah. And so finally I find out that they wanted me to get this. And I didn't think this was weird until I hung up and Jason said, I've never heard of that before. She said, oh, well, we sent you a letter, which I never received, wanting you to confirm your United States citizenship.
The hell?
And I thought, oh my goodness, is it because the ruling elite wants me to claim that I'm part of their beast system? And I just don't, it was really, really weird, because if I was always an American citizen, if I was always a United States citizen, what could have possibly occurred to make me no longer an American or United States citizen? You know what I mean? Have you ever gotten that before?
Never once, no. In
Yes,
fact,
that's
but
so
it's weird,
strange.
because if they ask me now, I'd probably say, well, no, I'm a state citizen, and just see what they say. Because there does appear to be some difference. If you again look at the original designing of the country, again, they've never kept it, but the idea is that each state is literally a country. There's states, and then the federation was supposed to be a loose federation of states. So each one is that's why we have states' rights. Each one is supposed to be an independent country, right? And so it'd be interesting to see.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to know if anybody here has ever gotten that. I certainly haven't in all of my, I think I got my first credit card when I got my first job when I was 14 years old. So that's 20 years ago, never been asked to confirm that I am a United States citizen. I didn't really know what that was all about, but I updated my address and told her to resend the letter so I could just take a look at it. So that's not to be very conspiratorial, but I'm the most outspoken one about this whole legal series that we've been doing on Crow 777 Radio. So anyway, just food for thought. Let's see what happens. Maybe that voicemail was true and they are going to be picking me up in the driveway at noon.
Every day at noon, you're out there going, I'm waiting.
I know.
I'm waiting. Yeah, exactly.
All right. So, why don't you go first with your situation with your coworker, and
All
then we'll
right.
jump back to me with my friend, and then you can start releasing your poppycock because while you're releasing your poppycock, I need to upload some screenshots because I didn't
Okay.
get to it before.
Well, so while you're uploading that, can I kind of set it up a little bit?
Yeah, go through your whole story.
Okay, yeah. So I was just telling you before we began that I was pretty unhappy. I'm glad we did this. We did not do poppycock yesterday because I was in quite a mood. I was very, very irritated. And largely the reason for that is because, of course, in Washington State, where I'm at, I'm in Seattle. And keep in mind that Washington State is primarily a red state. The only parts that are hardcore blue is in and around Seattle, and that's it. Even though the whole state goes, blue, because so most people get left out. The same is true with Oregon, right? Portland is hardcore, very liberal lefty. The rest of the state is very hardcore right. So it's an interesting dichotomy that we have here. Well, Jay Inslee is the governor, and he had issued back in March, restrictions, and most people didn't like them, but many people complied. And as we know, it's all about compliance. Well, he just got reelected, and no one knows how, right? Because even people on the left are not happy with him because of this nonsense, and yet he won with a comfortable victory. So, there's that. Anyway, he just announced over the weekend, and it went into effect last night at midnight. New hard restrictions. Closing back all the restaurants on bars, shutting down movie theaters, bowling alleys, health clubs, everything. It is just absolute nonsense. And I was just livid. I'm just so tired of it. And then, so I got the email about that. I'd already seen it in the news, and I got an email yesterday from work about it. But in that, one of my coworkers, and so there's a little bit here. So again, I'm not even 100% about this because he tested positive for COVID. And so it created some issues at work, and we have to close the shop and do some other things. But the guy, so I like the guy. I don't distrust him at all. But he was hired just, like 2 months, like right at the first of the year, to be the new guy to deal with concerts. And of course, concerts entirely went away. So he didn't have any work at all. And I was fortunate again to get some work because I was working on the infrastructure, keeping the place open, even though I'm a contractor. So he had no work at all. And so he's been just came back for like 20 hours a week, just really limited stuff, and kind of helping me in my stuff because there's no concerts. He has nothing to do. So he did over the weekend tested positive. Now, what I heard was that he had symptoms, and that was what caused him to test positive. But I'm not 100% because there's the other angle, which is he is eligible for state money if he tests positive, right, and can't work because he hasn't been able to work. So there is that possibility. Again, I'm not calling him a liar. I'm saying people got to do what they got to do for their family, and so I've got no judgment about any of that. But it does create some interesting issues. So I'm gonna talk to him directly. I reached out to him yesterday, and of course he was gone because he's supposed to be dealing with all this stuff. So it'll be very interesting to see what happens. It's the only person that I know that has tested positive for this. And however, I will guarantee you this, and I'll show a video later, that if you go to get tested, there's a good chance you will test positive whether you have it or not. Again, they're calling it asymptomatic. So, again, the plague's so deadly, you have to get tested to know if you have it. But it's not just a test. It may be giving you some symptoms, but guaranteed it's taking your DNA. We'll show you evidence of that later. Anyway, there you go. I know someone who has tested positive. I don't know if that's legitimate or not. And again, it's not because I distrust the person, but I understand the dynamics, right, of the situation such that it is very possible that they just needed to get some money, and that would be the best way to do it because most of the federal money has run out in Washington, so it's down to like, I don't know, $400 a week, something like that. So unless you get COVID, if you're diagnosed with COVID, you get a lot more. So that's a possibility. I'll ask him. I don't know if he trusts me enough. Love and the light, I'm not sure which test, frankly. I just got an email that he tested positive. So we'll see what happens. I'll keep you updated. And again, I'm not going to release any names or anything because I don't want to open his mail, right? Air his laundry out in public other than this is the situation around me. And it's the first person that I know. I did see somebody had posted on Facebook today, and I just, shake my head. It's like, well, just because, you don't know anybody who's gotten sick doesn't mean it's not true. I'm like, yeah, okay. Deny all the evidence, deny every evidence that you have, and trust the media because this time they're really telling the truth. They really care about you.
Time.
This one time we really care.
Especially because if there was a real pandemic, wouldn't that just make them happy since they want to decrease the population? I mean,
Yeah.
it just doesn't go along with their admitted goals. They're all eugenicists. It's crazy. I wonder what percentage of people who are normies even know what the word eugenics truly means. You know what I mean? Like they
Unlikely.
really are so limited in what they're capable of considering because they're so limited in the information that they are receiving because they're only getting it from an extremely controlled location and they're not interacting with other human beings that are making an effort to research. You know what? I'm always telling people, oh, you should go and search DuckDuckGo. It's so much better than Google. But, I kind of suck at practicing what I preach because in the heat of the moment, I'll just like open Safari on my phone or I'll use the search bar in the lower left-hand corner of my screen as a search. And, I'll do a bunch of searches and then I'll realize, you know what? I think that these results suck. Let's go and see if DuckDuckGo works better. It probably won't because I'm so good at choosing my search terms and I have impeccable spelling and I just know how to get into Google's head. No, I cannot get into Google's head. I cannot break the algorithm. DuckDuckGo definitely returns different and better results. So anyway,
but not necessarily unfiltered results. Let's just point that out because I have seen several things on DuckDuckGo. In fact, every search engine that I'm aware of has filtered some things. They're less overt about it than is Google, and to me that sort of offers a patina of legitimacy, right? To say, oh no, let's look at this one. But they are all collecting data. There's no question about that. I mean, it's all a hardware switch. But I think
good to do all of them though, isn't?
I
a good
agree.
one is Start Page, right? What is your favorite search engine?
I use a variety of them. I mean, for most things, Google is right there. So most of the things that I look at aren't deep research. And so I kind of look at it and I kind of have my own filter. When it comes to deep research, I use Start Page as one. And I do use DuckDuckGo just to change the algorithm. I'll even use Bing from time to time just to see what happens because the way that their algorithms work filter the results differently. So sometimes you catch things that fall through the crack or that sort of stuff. And like you said, you have to know how to use the search term. Boolean operators are helpful. So there's a variety of ways that you can do it, and you have to be patient. You can't go with the first page. Right?
Oh yes, absolutely.
So.
Yes, and also another little trick for as long as we're talking about personal research is first of all, everybody should have a VPN, and second of all, you change the location of your VPN, and depending on the region that they think you're in, you might get different results.
Very different results I've gotten. Sure. Yeah, I don't use.
Yeah, like change it to Israel or something and see that.
See what happens. I don't use a VPN, but I do use an IP spoofer from time to time when I'm doing research. And again, I know that the people who matter, they're not fooled by any of that. But as you see, it does absolutely change your search results. So I use that for times. For example, if you run out of articles at the Washington Post or something, I use an IP spoofer to do that. So.
Really quick before I jump into my Kernanny story, Crow 777 Radio recently released an episode 269 on color. It was a hit. I thought it was a great episode. My favorite episodes are the ones with just Crow and Jason, even though we have the most wonderful guests, including you've been one of our wonderful guests, Baldini. But I just love it when they go back and forth and discuss a specific topic together. So I really encourage everyone to go check out Crow 777 Radio 269. The next one is going to be with a gentleman named Dylan. Shout out Dylan. I was trying to if you're out there listening, Dylan, I was trying to figure out the spelling of your name and I did get it correct on the very first shot. But the first, I will have you know that the first return that I got on his name was a clip of him back in the day when he was trying to be an actor, and I did that too. I tried to be an actor way back in the day as well, and it's like a wonderful, passionate makeout scene. I'm like, is this the same dude? And then so I went and searched for the name of his book, which is Spirit World. Spirit, and then world is spelled WHIRLED. So I thought that was funny because I'm just like looking at this guy making out and thinking like, that guy knows what's up. An awake dude from the past. Well, it was like 10 years ago. But anyway, I just think it's funny because, if I type in my full name, I don't even want to see what the results are. I haven't Googled myself in a really long time. When was the last time you Googled yourself, Baldini?
It's been a while. I used to be the top 100 search results back in the day when Google was fairly new, and I was working in the manufacturing sector. So I did a lot of press releases and announcements and stuff like that. So I was all over the search results and the top hits. And more recently, less so, because there are other people who share my name who work in sports industry and stuff like that. So
Ooh, don't give any hints.
I know. I'm just saying. They work in. There's a sporting person in terms of. Well, I won't give the sport away, but there's a racing person. There's another person who does custom yachts. So a few people that share my name, and so they're using search engine optimization, and I'm making more efforts to be less discoverable now than
Of
more
course.
so. But there's also several stage magicians using the name the Great Baldini, which I find hilarious, and a couple of them are pretty bad. I've seen their
Oh
videos.
my, I bet. Yeah, I think
It's pretty sad.
I think if you Google image search the Great Baldini, you will see a very funny man in a top hat.
Yes.
And it's not you. Also,
Yeah.
the next episode after Dylan is going to be Mark Passio again. He's coming back to talk about anarchy in the first hour and then Satanism in the second hour. And he's really good with discussing the four tenets of Satanism. And any time that you guys have heard me blab on and on about the four tenets of Satanism, obviously I got all of that information from him back in the day when I was following him back in 2013 and learning about this concerted effort amongst the different groups of people who aim to control, deceive, and hurt us. So anyway, let me get into my story, Baldy.
Yeah,
really
go ahead.
quick, before you release your jar of poppycock. This is so high on the poppycock scale, and I really hope I don't start crying right now. But I feel that in the past 24 hours, I have been mentally hardening myself. I don't know if that's the best word for it, but I'm trying. Okay, look, put it this way. Ever since 1997, when I first heard Run to the Hills while scooping Brazilian coffee chip ice cream at McConnell's, I have been a metalhead. And becoming a metalhead and listening to Iron Maiden and Manowar and all of the Scandinavian Viking metal, I have been preparing for battle. But I was kind of saying that in a joking way up until the recent years. And now recently I'm like, holy shit. There will be a last battle. We're all going to leave this mortal coil at some point. And I am ready for that last battle, whatever it will be. Maybe that battle will be with myself. Maybe that battle will be with my own physical body. Or maybe that battle will be trying to stand up for what is right. Who knows? But with what I am seeing around me, I am so happy that I have been preparing for battle this long. I know that I might look really sweet and friendly, but I have been training my mind to fight against evil because I know that it is being perpetuated, and I want to stop this last minute late. It seems like they're on the home stretch for trying to do something, and I don't know, just something's building up inside of me, and when I get frustrated out in public, seeing people in masks, I'm getting more and more frustrated and angry. And I'm not saying I feel like punching these people, but I just am preparing myself. The more ridiculous and the more poppycock it gets, I am mentally just preparing myself for anything. At any moment in time, I am ready for battle. And so that's kind of a weird precursor to what I'm saying, but this is so hardcore for me that emotionally I am feeling a sense of fear, and then I've been kind of replacing that fear with a bit of anger, if that makes any sense, in order to cope. That's just my coping mechanism. And so maybe I should be worried, and maybe I should be more compassionate right now, and I am not feeling that way. And so I'm just sharing how I feel with all of you. As this community, I really wonder how many people out there are in the same position that I am right now, and I will tell you what that position is. I have a close friend who I worked with at Citrix Online, who now works for Microsoft as a head security guy. I love his family, his wife, his two children. I was there, both of his children, not in the room, but I was around when they were both born, and they both call me Uncle Fester. And it's just, they're very into science, and, they have dinosaur toys all over the place and globe stuff all over the place. And I just never got into it with them because, I just didn't want to compromise the friendship. But I never really was forthcoming about the level of truth I am. So he has debilitating asthma. And a couple weeks ago, he started feeling really, really sick. And he posted an update saying, I have the flu. I feel like shit. Hunkering down. And everyone, all of our mutual friends, it was popping up on my page that they were commenting and saying, oh, I hope you're okay. Be careful. Are you sure it's not the thing? And he's like, no, it can't possibly be corona. If I had corona, I would be in the hospital immediately. It can't be that. The symptoms do not exactly match COVID. It's just a flu. And so he's telling everyone it's just a flu, it's just a flu, it's just a flu. Now, I've had a flu before, and it took or bad colds, they take like 2 weeks sometimes. But after a week, he was feeling really shitty, and he probably got scared shitless because of his fucking television. And so what did he do? What did you do, Baldini? What do you think a scared person who's been sick for 1 week would do in this fucking world? Get tested. So what happened? Oh, he got the coronavirus. So then he updates his status. Oh, it's corona. Updating Xbox, hunkering down. Of course, he gets so many comments. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And I'm so angry because I'm seeing all of these people that are getting further brainwashed by this bullshit. And I so badly just wanted to post the clip of the video that says about the PCR test, and then just say, let it be known that I did not stand by and say nothing, and I keep working through my head, like, how do I handle the situation in a productive and helpful way other than just like stating something for the record so that I can say I told you so later? You know what I mean? Like this is like an emergency situation and I can't wake someone up in 5 seconds. So anyway, he's got corona. He's at home and, updating everyone as he's go along, trying to get better, and he's not getting better. His fever is getting bad, and then he loses his sense of smell and his sense of taste. Oh my God, have you ever heard of someone losing their sense of smell when they have a cold? Anyway, he took himself to the fucking hospital and posted a picture on Facebook of himself in his hospital room by himself wearing a fucking mask. What the fuck is going on, Baldini? This guy is basically committing suicide. These people are going to fucking murder my friend. And then it's going to be called corona. And this is a bullshit fake pandemic. I've heard of many, many people who have gotten sick with the flu, very sick to the point of them. I have a personal friend who almost died from the flu like 20 years ago. It fucking happens. And you know what's going to make it happen more? When you have asthma and you restrict your fucking breath. So yes, I'm angry. I'm angry because I don't want my friend to die. I'm angry because I don't want my friend to leave his beautiful children and his wife. And I'm angry at myself because maybe I didn't say enough. Maybe I didn't say enough months ago before all this happened. Maybe I didn't plant seeds so that when someone does get that sense of fear, they think twice about going to a fucking, basically a pigs to the slaughterhouse, Baldini. It's pigs to the slaughterhouse. I don't want my friend to die. But going to a hospital when you're feeling that shitty, especially with the new protocols that they have with this fucking fake bullshit, is like just toying with, it's fucking crazy, Baldini. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do other than share how I feel right here. I don't know what to do. Does anyone else have a suggestion? Because if someone told me this story, I would probably be really quick to come up with some fucking clever idea. But now that it's happening to me, I don't know what the fuck to do.
Yeah, it's so hard, right? I mean, these are really difficult times, and especially when those that you love are bought into it, And as you were telling the story about him posting the picture, I'm like, yeah, and it's so common right now, right? Because victimization is becoming that's glorified, right? So, oh my God, I got the corona. Everybody will feel sorry for me, right? And they have no idea what the results of that are going to be when you go into, like you said, when you go into the hospital and you are already compromised. Man, that's concerning, definitely. And
I thought my friend was smart. I really did. Even though he loved, I loved Jurassic Park. I loved the heliocentric model before I realized shit. But so I just okay, he hasn't looked into this information. He's a father. He's, has a full-time job. He's a busy guy. But he's still his brain works. I generally only befriend people that have operating brains. I like to have interesting philosophical conversations. We both liked the same kind of movies and stuff. So I thought my friend was capable of independent thought, and that if he was really that sick during a time of all of this fear and suggestion, that he would possibly look into it enough to make a better decision about basically letting it's just
Right. You named it though, right? Fear. Fear drives people to do some really dumb things, right? And that's like I said, it's a difficult situation. I talked to
so you
somebody.
don't have a 100% quick fix for me
There's
this
not a.
morning,
I don't
Baldini.
think there is a
God damn it.
100% quick fix. I wish that I could. I had somebody call into my show this weekend, and their kids are fully bought into technocracy, right? They realize that they see it as well as we do. And I was just having this conversation with my wife this morning about how people are really polarizing, right? And so what's interesting is that as bad as I feel about those who are doubling down and going further and further into the cave of their cult, right? This is the first time I've ever seen, we were kind of talking about politics and that sort of stuff, and that, but in the past, most people have usually gone to one side or the other, that which form of government they prefer. And if this is the first time I've ever seen people go government. No, we don't do that here, right? That people are becoming not statists and looking for their own freedom. That's the first time I've seen the numbers of people that are looking at this now. And it seems to be, again, this tribe, as Alex just said, that are, again, we don't buy the mask, we don't buy the nanny, we don't buy their lies anymore. And so, we look at the situation, and again, my take on it has and always been, right, is that love casts out fear, right? And so if we can operate from that sense, it screws up their system. But not everybody's going to go for it. And that's a really difficult thing, especially when those that you care about cannot see it. And the only thing that I know really to do that's effective is to continue to be more of yourself. And when you're not afraid, often they will come to you and say, "Hey, why are you not afraid?" And you can share with them your sense of security, right? And even if that is in your case anger, right? But ultimately,
I feel like it's a righteous anger, but it's a meaningless anger if I don't do something. So I guess let me make my question a little bit more specific, Baldini. Do I say something and risk looking absolutely fucking insane and destroying so many relationships because it's going to trigger about 50 people if I question this person's sickness and their decision to go to the hospital? Do I do that? See, I feel like it's the right thing to do, to speak the truth, even if people come after me and it destroys relationships. But or do I just shut the fuck up, and then if he dies, then just be like,
well, here would be my recommendation, Rose.
Okay,
right? Is that, as you know, that people generally do not respond well to being told that they're wrong, right? Because they want to defend their position. And so if you come in hot and go, "Hey, this is bullshit," and get out of here, right? He'll just kind of push back and go, "No," right? So if you come in, I think this would be my recommendation. Again, you do you, because it's not it's not my job, right? I can't tell people. This is how I would approach it, is to come in with legitimate concern and say, "Friend, I'm really concerned about you, because what I've seen so far is that the information that they're providing in the media is inaccurate, and the media is known to lie to us. And if you look around from the beginning, we've been following this, and this appears to be a complicated situation where they're not looking out for your best interest. And so I'm concerned about you and your best interest, and that may not be to follow the recommendations that they're giving you." So from my perspective, again, coming at it from a place of legitimate concern, not fear, but I'm concerned for your well-being, right? So even if they reject it, at least you can show that, one, you cared, two, you said something, and they don't feel attacked by you because you were angry about it, right?
yeah.
So
But it's I am genuinely concerned, but this is also, I'm just being completely honest here, it's for my own sanity. I call it the theory. It's like you know how there's Crow's Law of HD? I have my own little law called the Watch the Bong Law. Growing up with a large bong all around me all the time, with lots of people walking around my condo for 10 years. If someone walks by the bong and I just feel like they're a little close, even though they probably see the bong there, I just have have to say, watch the bong, because if they accidentally knock it over and it breaks, I mean, I'm not going to be mad at them. Shit happens, but at least I'll know that I said that, because if I'm watching them walk past the bong and they knock over the bong and I didn't say something, then I'm going to feel like it was my fault. So just saying it, even if I sound annoying, I just have to do it.
Well, there again, this is many of us again who follow this. There's a well rendered quote from again Scripture, Ezekiel chapter 33, basically the story of the watchman on the wall, saying, "If you see danger coming and you say nothing, and they are harmed from it, then their blood is on your hands. But if you say something and they ignore you, then that's on them." Right. So I do think that it is a good thing to let them know your concerns. I wouldn't just sit silent and just let it happen and go, well, oh, well, I don't believe in that. And I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't just, wash my hands of it and say, oh, well, you did that. I know I can't save everybody. Right. And I know that there are people that I cannot convince and they are stuck at where they're at, but I'm going to try to help. Right. And so I agree with you. Right. Especially you care about this person. It's a legitimate concern. But again, I would say share with them legitimate concern and say, this is what you're facing. Right. Is that people are lying, and they lie. When people lie, they do it for nefarious purposes. It's never for a good cause. Right. That they're lying. Yeah. So when they're lying about something that has to do with a life and death situation, that makes me very concerned. Right. So please, while you're here, right, you got nothing better to do. Please look this up. Right. Yeah. Please take a look at the information and don't just ignore it. You can make up your own mind, and you're a smart guy and I trust you, with your own life. But right, please take a look at this information. That would be my approach. And then you could feel like you tried at least, and you did, that you did something. So
yeah. I got to go with my watch the bong theory. It does appear to be a consistent thing that is something I should follow. Oh my goodness, Baldini. It is just.
Oh man.
Okay. It's pretty late. It's already 40. We're probably not going to, I don't think we should get into the essence of Roe because you have so much poppycock. I did manage to upload about 5 things. I'm just going to show really quickly, and then you're going to take it away.
Okay.
I don't know if anyone saw this Elon Musk tweet, but 2 tests back came negative, 2 came back positive. So this is revelation of the method. This is supposed to be like, I wonder if this guy is going to end up being a sacrificial lamb and he's going to quote unquote get it, or if he's going to continuously be against the grain in order to make him seem real and edgy and like he's not part of the government. You know what I mean? Like, this guy is truly a capitalist, separate dude that's just helping society with his private space agency and going against the mainstream narrative. You know what I mean? Who knows what's going on with this motherfucker? Here is a listener from Maui. What is up, my friend? I love this. Make common sense great again. COVID is a hoax. All media and politicians are liars. Absolutely succinct, to the point. In Maui, I asked her to please let me know if she gets an angry note. I have gotten an angry note on my car once driving, just parking diagonally so my ramp could come out because there's no wheelchair access. And I got a card on my windshield that said, "You park like a punk asshole." And I just always remember that story because as like a very this guy left me his business card because it said you park like a punk asshole. And so I called him thinking that when I told him that I'm in a wheelchair that he would be like, "Oh, I'm so sorry for my mistake." And so I was a little bit humbled because when I called him back like such a know-it-all, thinking that this phone call was going to be very predictable, I was like, "Hi, I just wanted to let you know why I was parked like that. I needed to let my ramp out for my wheelchair." And he just did not give a fuck. It was so amusing and fascinating too. But anyway, moving on. I saw this online, and it says here in the little tiny writing, Dr. Tam now suggesting all Canadians practice holding their breath for extended periods of time. Okay.
I can't. I just can't.
How do people not see what's occurring? This is called the Overton window. Isn't this a perfect example of the Overton window? Yeah. Had someone suggested that people practice holding their breath for extended periods of time back in April or March, people would say you're fucking insane. Now, Baldini, when I show this next picture, I want you to tell me what it is that we are seeing here, because I just can't.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Really? Oh, boy. Oh, well, of course, they're doing baptism by water gun. Oh, dear.
Oh dear. Is this possible? I'm hoping this could be a joke. Is it possible that this could be a joke, Baldini, or is it seriously what they are thinking is logically safe? And just think about what they are getting people used to. And first with the temperature guns, now with the holy water. Isn't this just a slap in the fucking face?
Oh man, it all is. It all is. I saw the other day someone posted. In fact, several people had posted on social media prayer for the mask. Some idiot pastor wrote a prayer about putting on the mask and how it's all for other people. Oh, you are.
Oh God. All right. Well, before I hand it over to you, I'm gonna just read this really quick because I really liked what this girl, Charlotte, said. Just because I would refuse to get tested for the coronavirus, get the vaccine, does not mean I don't care about people and want them to die. I'm not a sociopath, nor am I your enemy. As a general rule, I don't believe anything the government tells me. In fact, I believe the direct opposite of what the technocratic predator class tells me. In my opinion, people who exercise this kind of mindset are projecting their sociopathy onto others by judging and condemning them for making a personal choice themselves to not comply with the dictates of a tyrannical media surveillance state. These are the same people who say, I wear a mask to protect you. And in the next breath, these people will wish death upon you because you refuse to wear a mask. Please kindly F off. Don't be fooled. These people really don't give a fuck about you or me. They're only pretending. They're only obeying. They're spineless. They're misinformed and systemically indoctrinated to believe only the experts without doing any actual research. So with that, I say this. It is more sociopathic to subsequently condemn people, labeling them as bad while believing they must want people to die because they didn't do what the government happened to be telling everyone to do. This, by its very nature, is sociopathic. Good ideas do not require force. All right, take it away, Baldini.
Man, you're on fire today. How do I follow that? Okay, let's see. So I will just piggyback on that and do this and that. All right. So I guess, I'll just continue on with a little bit of the Kernani here because and testing, because this is a big issue right now. We both had somebody that tested positive. We're going to monitor that. Yours is a far more serious situation than is the person that I know. But they're So this is, I found this interesting. This was it says top stories here, but it's actually on our tab called For You, and they give me a bunch of nonsense. They're really trying to program me. It's pretty interesting. If you go to Google News and click on For You, they tell you what they want you to think. The first ones I get are space and that sort of stuff, right? But LA County officials urge residents not to get tested just for coronavirus, just to socialize, right? So basically, don't go get tested. Don't rely on a negative test result to see your family for Thanksgiving. Do not go hang out with your family for Thanksgiving. That's bad. That's bad. You're going to kill people. You're going to kill Nana. So don't do it. COVID-19 Liverpool mass testing finds 700 cases with no symptoms. So again, you can be asymptomatic. Nonsense, right? That they are lying to you. Governor reverses course, issues mask mandate. So again, they're doubling down. And you're right, it is disturbing. Indeed, they are going for, as you said, all the marbles. Here in Seattle, some businesses, they're not going to comply with the state's new COVID-19 restrictions. Good for them. And several of them, again, are saying, what are they going to do? Fine us? We don't have any money. We're going to go out of business. So, that's what I used to say when I was a kid. My parents would ground me. I'm like, what are you going to do if I leave? You're going to ground me again? I was a bad kid. But they're saying, we don't want to make this a criminal matter. We want to make this an educational process. They're telling you very clearly it's about compliance, right? They're saying that many businesses are going to comply because they know it's the right thing to do. So it is all about compliance. It has nothing to do with your health and safety. It has to do with compliance. Philadelphia bans nearly all indoor gatherings for the rest of the year. Go Philadelphia. They're prohibiting all indoor gatherings through January 1st. Again, it is nonsense. There is no second wave. It is indeed knucking futz. So here's another article from CNN, and this is the one that I find interesting, right? Going back to the election, is that they're releasing information on both sides of this. And again, this is what I've been saying from the beginning, is it has everything to do with dividing people. And so both sides feel disenfranchised. The mainstream media, of course, is that Biden won, and that any talk of them doing anything wrong in the election, and we know that all elections are fraud, but they're saying that now you're a conspiracy theorist, and that is dangerous to democracy. And so the whole thing is pushing the idea that conspiracy theories are a danger to democracy, and of course we don't in the U.S. live in a democracy. It's supposed to be a representative republic. Anyhow, so Georgia recount report reportedly finds more than 2,600 ballots that weren't tallied. But no, there's no hokum going on with the election except for the hokum that we find. Again, so what they're doing is they're showing you stuff on both sides. So both parties, both sides of the issue will feel like screwed from the other side. This simply ramps up and inflames issues. Newsom's cozy ties with top lobbyists showcased by French Laundry dinner party. So what he does, again, he has a party with a meal with a bunch of people. So he devised his own orders and with a political operative, basically a high-end lobbyist, because he's good friends with him. So, we got that going, which is nice. So we have more embezzlement. So you can see, again, following this thing, former something embezzlement, pleads guilty. There's the criminal phase of this. So I just keep finding that interesting. I happen to notice several different articles that use the number 666 in it. I thought, well, what happens if I just search for 666? You should see, one would expect to see a variety of articles that deal with, the number of the beast, right? Because that's long been what it is. But no, most of the articles are trying to legitimately use the number. We see a lot of articles dealing with separated migrant kids, gone up to 666. They cannot locate the parents of 666. So that should tell you something. Hospitals report COVID uptick. Arizona adds 666 new cases. We got that several times. Interestingly enough, one of the top results here was Utah. And so the Utah News Radio, how many pages of news do they have? 666 pages of news, just to point that out. So we have that going, which is nice. Wanted to point this out to you. This is somebody who had sent this to me on Facebook, and I wanted to, hopefully the audio comes through here. Wanted to share this with you. This gal, you can see that she's wearing the mask, but she will explain that the school required that her and her kids get tested, and this is the results.
Okay, I'll take off the mask. Both my children, this is what they give you, a collection device. Now, I want you to notice something. This little paper popped out. The company doing it is Vault. It's called Vault or something like that, VAULT. And they are offering it for free through the county. So anyway, just in case you decide to go get one, don't get a test unless you're forced to do it. They're getting your DNA. Look, Spectrum DNA, innovative DNA collection devices.
So there you go. They are taking your DNA. That's the purpose of the test, as well as probably some of them are actually infecting you, but I wouldn't trust any of it. We were talking about how Google selectively gives you information. And one of the things that came up was this. Bill de Blasio's daughter says Joe Biden stole the election. And
she looks like a crazy-eyed killer.
Well, here's the interesting part about that. I'll get to that in just a moment. So she was asked by a reporter why she was happy about this, the election results. And she says, for me, it's really special because now we have the first Black Asian American female president in office. They keep slipping and saying that. But an elected Joe Biden was able to win the election. Sorry, she said. So that I found that very interesting. This picture that you see of her here, which was when she was arrested at a protest, which makes her look like a crazy-eyed freak, and she is. If you do a Google image search for her, however, you would think that would be one of the top ones, but no, they've actually. It's very difficult to find that image of her. They lead with her looking, very kind of normal, even though that's not. De Blasio daughter reveals drug use. You think? But it
looks like a mugshot.
That is a mugshot right there. That's actually her mugshot from being arrested at a BLM protest. So we got that going.
Well, if she's on drugs, then it makes more sense. I would be way more amused if that was her sober.
Well, yeah. So also, I've mentioned this several times, and I happened to catch this today about people who have no internal monologue. About 2 years ago, a report came out from a series of tests that was done at a couple of different universities. Both had similar results. I looked at both those.
Bizarre.
Fact that some people, in fact, most of the people under 25 have no internal monologue, which just
what the fuck is that about?
crazy to
Do
me.
you think that that's engineered chemically in some way or
Yeah,
genetically?
I'm still not sure what to make
Or
of it.
maybe it's a vaccine damage. I would love to see what that would be like for a day because my internal monologue, there's like 5 different monologues going on at once.
It is, yeah.
I need a break from my rapid thoughts.
Yeah, I have a corporate, conglomeration up there. They're having a conference. And I mean, I've described it that way, that I've got a conference room with different people and right, they talk to each other and they all have different personalities. So I guess I have multiple personalities, but you can find a Reddit thread, which apparently blew up about people, and again, most of them under 25, that just to sort of describe what things are like without an internal monologue. And it's a bit like I imagined. It's all entirely reactionary. They have sort of emotions and they react, but they do not think in words. They have no internal monologue, and when required to communicate, they have to take a moment and think about what words they're going to use. So Francis Sage has extra to sell if you're looking. So we got that going for you, which is nice. So yeah, this is it's a very interesting situation that we've going on here. We're coming up at the top of the hour now. I do want to get to, well, let's see, where's my Florida man for the day? I know I've got one somewhere. Because I got actually somebody sent me one as well. And let's see here. So trying to.
Yeah, and by the way, everyone, we did get a bunch of Poppycock in the inbox, and I'm going to have it all organized and pick which ones to present for Thursday.
Oh, let's see. What I must have closed that article. I did have one more thing here. If you look at, of course, the Great Reset and Dark Winter have both been have been coming up recently in the news, and so this is the other part of I saw about them feeding both sides of the argument. So the Great Reset, you can find about 24 books out right now that have been written in the last 18 months regarding the Great Reset. It's been quoted several times at the World Economic Forum and other places, but now they're kind of leaking out that so Great Reset conspiracy theory takes Twitter by storm after Trudeau's speech. But they're actually showing in some of the mainstream news. Here's a Fox News article about the COVID's. The elites want COVID-19. They use the word elite lockdowns to usher in a great reset. And that should terrify you. So again, they're kind of pushing people on both sides. They are indeed trying to polarize people. So we got that going for you. I'll have to double go back here real quick for the Florida Man article. And so I had 2 of them. One of them was actually was sent in by one of our friends. This Florida man hauled a stolen I-4 utility pole atop his sedan. So he managed to drive around with it. He was trying to sell it for the metal.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's not such a good idea. I sense a little bit of remorse in that mugshot. Let's look. Can we look at his face again?
Yeah.
I think he does feel a little bit bad about what he did.
Well, I think
Maybe he will. Maybe the judge will be lenient because
he's
I feel
bummed
bad
because
for
he didn't
him.
get the money, and it wasn't easy to do. It's about 50, almost 16 feet long. So he put it on top. He managed to get it on his car. He got it cut down, and he was going to go make that money. The other thing that was interesting here is there were several articles about this Florida man who was involving an 8-year-old boy in a crime spree to toughen him up, so he would become a better criminal. So we got that going, which is nice. So that's Florida Man for the day. And yeah, so I hope your internal monologue tells you to come back for Poppycock Report again on Thursday.
Yeah, that would be lovely. There's just one. We have about 3 minutes or 2 minutes to go here, and I wasn't there for Jared Azamara last night, but I heard them discussing the whole selection bullshit clown show thing that's going on right now in the news with the so-called presidents. And Jason was referencing like certain kinds of election fraud stories, and I don't know if he was just demonstrating the mainstream narrative or not, but Baldini, my sense is, and of course I'm very hardcore and conspiratorial, I am on the huge end of the spectrum that says this is all fake, pre-planned, pre-selected. Everything we are seeing is just like a play coming out. So you think that things are going in one direction, another direction. It's all planned. Like if someone's watching a play and just because the plot is twisting doesn't mean it's real, So I don't know what people mean when truthers are talking about like election fraud, or if they're just talking about like a piece of the play that they're presenting. But I don't think that like this is that they're going to decide what to pick in the end. Of course, that could be a possibility, but that's not what I'm going with. I'm going with this is all fake, and that when I'm discussing like the topics like such as election fraud, I'm just doing it as in like explaining a fake story that's being presented. So that's my take on it.
Yeah. In fact, I just put in a link in the chat. That was the topic of unintended consequences this last weekend. Was our scripted reality and the nature of the script. And a couple of people did try to go. They wanted to argue politics, and I just throw them out the airlock. I'm like, that's not the topic of what I was talking about. It has nothing to do with the politics itself. It has to do with the nature of the scripting, right? And using this as an example of how they script our reality. It's like people, they got very, I was going to say poor reading comprehension, but they can't even listen, right? It's like, okay, you just spent 90 minutes listening, but not listening because you got triggered about when argue politics. I have no interest in politics other than it's a show, right? And just it's a demonstration that it is a show. So yeah, and people are hilarious, but not in a good way. So we got that going, which is nice. So there you go. My final words would be use your inner monologue to come back on Thursday.
Yeah. Quite fascinating about that internal monologue thing.
It is.
All right, so a little something different. I just want to share the song that Christian Knapp came out with called Free Mac as we close out the show.
Awesome.
So if anyone wants to stick around, it's a wonderful song. I really enjoy it. I definitely want to give it a stab because I think it's like kind of a chill parody of Freebird. So maybe I'll give that a stab on my own if I could figure out the lyrics. But everybody, thank you so much for being here. It's been a wonderful Poppycock Report. Baldini, thank you so much for being a wonderful co-host. And we will see you all on Thursday. All right. Cheers, everyone.
If they put back in a jail, would you wonder just what he did? He stuck up for his right to live and breathe, and didn't comply with some government shit. They use fear to control us sheep. What people will believe is quite insane. But this guy's in jail for standing up for the truth. Flat Earth Locker is his name. Oh, Flat Earth Locker is his name. He's the face of resistance. Man is fighting for you and me. Sacrificing everything he's got to fight the unjust authority. It's easy to see right through this COVID hoax, but they want to make an example of him. Well, that's gonna do just whatever it takes to make sure these bastards never win. Oh no, these bastards are never gonna win. These bastards are never gonna win. We love you, man.
We love you, Mac.